You ever wonder what those people who travel the world in yachts and own planes, how they get so lucky in life? Jarek Tadla is going to share with you the biggest investment you can make in order for you to get lucky in life. Welcome to the King's Code Podcast. Welcome to the King's Code Podcast. My name is Raul Velasquez, and we're here in this beautiful Mediterranean Sea. I think we're in France, Italy. Where are we?
I think now we're in Italy.
We're Italy.
Yes.
And
somewhere
today,
in between Sardinia and Corsica.
And today we have a special guest, Jarek Tadla. Jarek, thank you for hosting us in your family's vacation. This is
That's
an
a
amazing
special edition.
Special edition of
we
the
got
King's
this
Code
nice
Podcast.
views. We got everything. So
in this podcast, I want to discuss purpose. I want to discuss what does it mean for you to have success. And I want you to share with the audience a little bit of your background, because some people may not know who you are, even though you have millions of followers. And right now, you're in the middle of launching your book. So give them a little bit of background of who you are, what you do, and then we're going to get deep into our conversation.
the most important thing is that I'm immigrant. Moved to this country when I was 21, to the best country in the world, and I was fortunate enough to take advantage of what United States got to offer. I moved here, it was almost 31 years ago, and I was very fortunate with the business and everything else I created, and lost my purpose.
But before that, you got here. What was your first couple of jobs that you did? Well, like when you came here as an immigrant, what was America waiting for you for?
It was a dishwasher.
Dishwasher. That's what it gets. I want the audience to understand that.
This was a dishwasher job. This was like, and it's funny, I always tell people, this was the best job I ever had. I didn't speak any English. There was no any drama, any politics. I didn't know what's going on. The only thing I was
happy to be here.
Yes, I was happy to be in the United States. I was doing dishes. I was going to school, learn English, second language, and I was in heaven. I won. I got everything I ever wanted. Because, I remember, I really want to come. It's very hard for, Polish people to come to the United States. And I was lucky enough to win a green card. So I came here with a green card, so I didn't have to go through the whole process, illegal immigrants and nothing like that. So I was very fortunate that, from the day one, I could work legally, and I was.
And that's not the story for a lot of immigrants, right?
No.
They come here with a dream and they do anything and to survive. But the beautiful thing is that being an immigrant, I think that's where you and I related, because being an immigrant, we know that we are privileged to be here.
Yeah.
This is that we were not born here. This is a privilege. This is not something that we, all of a sudden we're taking it for granted. So I think that's where you and I get along, because we know that the hustle, it's real.
But it's not only us, like immigrants, taking this stuff for granted. We take a lot of stuff for granted. I keep saying one thing. It's like the more scuba diver per capita are in Colorado. The more skier per capita are in Florida. So it's like when we have something, we take it for granted. I think it's a human nature. That's how we are designed. Our mind is designed. If you have access to something, you think
you take it for granted because it comes easy.
It comes the entitlement.
Yeah.
And that's that's the entitlement comes with that, and that's what happened also to me. You know what I mean? That's why I'm writing the book. That's why I got lost, because I got with all my successes, I got entitled.
So let's talk about dishwashing. Then, what was your first entrepreneur type of business that you had? Did you have a business that you started? How did you develop your skill? And what happened after dishwashing?
When I was washing dishes, then I promote very quickly to the busboy restaurant, like a cook prep and restaurant manager and waiter and all this stuff. So, but in the meantime, I was also buying cars. I was buying crash cars. And I was fixing them, and then I was making a little bit profit on the side. And then I always want to get into real estate, but if I make $1,000 on $5,000 car, I figure if on $50,000 home I make $10,000, I'm rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you're making $4 an hour. I have to quit smoking, because I couldn't afford smoking. And suddenly, $1,000, it's a huge amount.
Isn't it crazy? Like $1,000 to somebody who's washing dishes is like a fortune.
It's a, yeah.
Because I remember my first business in real estate, my mentor said, I'm going to pay you $1,000 for every piece of land that you sell. And for me, like $1,000 legally? You know, pay me $1,000,
Yeah.
man. I'm knocking on doors. I'm calling people. He gave me a book. He said, if you read this book from the beginning to end, you're going to be rich. I said, all right, man, I can't wait to read this book. He gave me the white pages. For the audience that doesn't know what a white pages is, there was no internet back then. It was the phone numbers for every person in your county. So I started calling people, hey, you want to buy real estate? You want to buy real estate? And he gave me $1,000 commission. And the first year, I sold enough that I'm like, man, I'm rich, man. $1,000, you know, it's a lot of money. So now you were making $1,000 per
car.
Per car.
Yeah. And then I had a conversation a few years later with somebody. At that time, she was my girlfriend, and her family said they live in the fourplex, and they live in one, and they rent the other three, and they get they live for free. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like they live for free? Like how can you do that? And that was the light bulb. But at that time, I didn't realize I really thought I'm gonna buy one fourplex. I moved to Denver. I'm gonna buy one fourplex, and that's the end of the story. But then the one fourplex become a second, then the third become 12 units, 17 units, 18 units, then 100 units, 200 units, 300 units, 1,000 units.
But hold on in that thought, because people have a hard time understanding that they could afford one house, one property, okay, let alone buy hundreds of units. So what was the mindset? I mean, from a dishwasher, flipping cars, then you see that, okay, there is a business around real estate. I don't want to pay rent because I can relate to that. Like I never pay rent.
I just want to, let's be honest here. I didn't know. I was clueless. I was just going, I was going with the flow. My idea was, hey, I'm going to buy a fourplex. I save all my money. I sold all my cars. And I bought, and it's funny, I bought my first fourplex for $200,000 with $50,000 down payment. Because
so how did you make the $50,000?
With the cars
So
and savings. I moved back with my parents to save some money so I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to do anything. Moved back with my parents, saved the money for a year, got $50,000 and buy my first fourplex.
So for the listeners out there who are young, I want you to understand that the success doesn't happen overnight. You have to start at a certain level. Figure out your skill set, make a little bit of money, save that money and reinvest it. Yeah. And go into bigger things. So then you got the fourplex, you started buying more real estate?
Yeah, and the first fourplex, and then the second fourplex was for sale, but then I already was in a game. So when I was buying the first one, what happens when you get in the circle, or in the like a bubble, then suddenly when I was going through the process qualifying, I was getting more answers, and I start, that's the most important is, I start asking better questions. You know, on the beginning, when you start anything new, you don't know how to ask, you know, because it's like you don't know anything about it. So it's like, I don't know what this, I don't know. So it's funny. It's a stupid questions. A lot of people are embarrassed to ask stupid questions because they don't know. But each master or each guru at some point was a student.
Yeah.
So you have to start slowly. And then the second fourplex I literally bought almost with $3,000. I'm like, the first one I bought with 50 grand, the second I bought with $3,000 because there was 3% down payments. And then I could even put like closing costs and everything in the loan. I was like, oh.
So that you started to understand the game.
The game, exactly.
Yeah. But see, your family didn't come from real estate. Your
No,
family didn't.
no,
Like, were you the first in your family to buy a property?
Yes.
Yeah, the same with me. I was like, people couldn't believe that I bought a property, a real estate property. That's what I'm saying. The concept of people understanding I could buy this house is hard because people save a lot of money to one day hope that they're going to buy a house. But to turn into a business, and that's what I saw in a multifamily, it is a business. So it has to be a mindset shift. But what, what I'm interested to get from you is, how do you go from the mindset, okay, I own a fourplex, to now I want to buy hundreds of units? Is that like, help us understand, wrap our head around the thought process of like, I could do this. You know, I don't have to stop at 4. I could go for more.
But it's their journey takes you. Like I'm telling you, when I bought my first one, I never ever anticipated I'm gonna own 8 units, 10 units, 20 units. This was like when I was buying first, it was unheard of.
So you were just focused on the next one.
Yeah, I didn't. The next one came by accident. What I'm saying is,
so tell us that the next one came by accident. Why?
Because what happened is, When you surround yourself with the bubble, with the people that you know, with your family, because unfortunately, when you're young, the only thing you know what you were taught. And if nobody in your family, no one in surrounding the circle, it's a billionaire or millionaire or 100 million, it's like you don't know. If nobody was in a bodybuilding competition, you're not gonna build it, but that's what you want. So what happened is you gotta completely step out. You gotta look for something that it's not, if unless you have somebody in your family or in your already in your bubble to inspire you, then you gotta go after that person.
That's what I was gonna.
But a lot of us don't have that person. We just do not have it. But that's what. But it was '93. Now we have a 2024. That's why the social media is the greatest gift. It's a gift and a curse. So, like all the youngsters, all the people, like even when we get in the Edge program, it's the social media help us.
Yeah.
So they have access to those informations.
So that's what I want to drive that point that you may say was an accident, but nothing happens by accident. It's the people you surround yourself with that bring you the opportunities. Now, you were ready to take advantage of the opportunity. Most people, the opportunities come by and they let it go because they want to know everything. And the reality is you're never going to know everything.
But this is another thing. It was funny. I was young. I was 21 years old, okay? And I'm 52. And I still make a decision before somebody even finish the sentence. I make decision quickly. I don't analyze. I make a lot of huge mistakes. Like, you know, and the problem is I learn from those mistakes. And my mistakes are costing more and more money. But I make decision on the spot. When you're young, you can make the decisions, and we're gonna be young for the rest of our lives. So there are people that overanalyze everything before they make anything, and they don't make anything, and they just stuck there. Or they are hired by people that overanalyze, because those analytical people, I need it.
Exactly.
But any entrepreneur, they only have a vision. They have no idea how to get there. I don't, like, if you want me, how even from now on, been in the business 31 years, how do I get from the point B to C? I have no idea. I know I'm going to point C, but then somebody else got to help me out with that, because I still in the business, like, I know hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate. I have no idea how to operate. I'm clueless.
You hire people to do it.
Yeah, I'm clueless.
It reminds me of, I was reading the book by Elon Musk, and he runs 5 different companies. But if you ask him how to do something, he doesn't know how. He hires people. He's the visionary. So I think that if you're a visionary, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to get around people that will help you fulfill that mission. Because dreaming doesn't cost anything. Not having a dream will cost you everything.
Yeah. But remember, 95 people live in operating system, or I call it software, that they develop from entire life. You know, our experiences, our knowledge, the books we read, the schools, you know, the people we surrounded with. And 5%, I'm just making up the number. I'm just like, you know, but most of the people, there's only few, like 1% or 5%, they have a vision. And they even the people on the highest level, they still don't know. The only thing that I have a vision and I'm gonna get there. And a lot of the most successful entrepreneurs, they get broke through the process, but they still follow the vision and they get there.
Well, the one thing is knowing that, having the certainty that you're gonna figure things out. There's confidence and there's certainty. Confidence is when you have a skill set. Certainty is when you have a knowingness that you may not have the skill set right now, but you're gonna learn, you're gonna figure it out, you're gonna hire somebody who's gonna have the skill set. And that comes from deciding. You can't stay in the sidelines. Either decide to do something or decide not to do something. But indecision creates uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds fear.
The skill set comes with the mindset. You need a mindset. You got a skill set in order to get the mindset. And those are on a daily routines that you do it every day. You know, and that's what, when you would build the resilience, that's where we build the perseverance, the discipline. Because a lot of people, like the motivation is, I'm telling you, you can watch those podcasts, you can watch all the shit you want to watch in the world. Okay, the motivation is gonna come and go. I mean, I still do it for me. I mean, I do my, you know, my daily mantras, all this stuff, blah, 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 you know, but it's still, there are days I don't want to do shit. Like, I really don't. Like, why do I have to work out? Why do I have to meditate? Why do I have to pray? Why do I have to read the Bible? Why? It's just the stuff that I have to do it in order to get to the next level. And this is a never-ending game.
Yeah.
Never-ending game. And what is nicer, with the time, you just keep adding and twisting, and you finding the shortcuts how to get there quicker and sooner.
You continue to refine your process.
Yes. Plus, you attract better and better people on the better and higher frequencies. So what happened is they kind of like, oh, he does this, oh, I'm gonna just steal that. He does this, oh, I'm gonna steal that. Oh, I like that, oh, I'm gonna steal that. And then that's Jarek, I did that. No, I didn't. I just
See, that's the interesting part.
No,
That's
I
the interesting
didn't.
part. Is the
I'm a
interesting part
dummy.
is being a student of the game.
Yeah.
Because you and I were talking earlier this morning how at one point you were so successful that you thought you knew everything. So tell us that story about like once you retired, you have all these properties, you got to the top of the mountain. At that time, it was the top of your mountain. What happened then? How did you reframe to go to the next level?
I didn't. I crushed. I just crushed, and I crushed. But I got fortunate enough that I did not crush in the business, but I crushed in every other aspect of my life. So what happened is sometimes you cannot be successful in only one area. Let's say if you're successful in a business and then you suffer spiritually, mentally, emotionally, in relationships, physically, then you're gonna crush. And because I was so cocky and so entitled, and I was ugly son of a bitch. Like I treated people, even in my head, like like I built this huge entitlement that I'm better than anybody. That I retire quickly, and it's like, and it just eat me from inside, and I have to go rebuild myself, like all those areas that I suffer, and it didn't happen overnight, and I built something else, and then boom, I got crushed again. I crushed again, but I built the resilience that I knew that I can do it. But I always again, on the beginning of each crash, I didn't know how to ask questions, even when I run into you. Like, it's like, why are you here? I don't know, Rahul. What do you mean you don't know? Like, I don't know. So what? Tell me what's your story. I don't know. Like I didn't even know, like I have access to other people. I didn't know even how to ask questions. Like when I start training for Ironman, I mean, I didn't know where to buy a bike, where to start. Like I'm a swimmer, I'm a biker, I'm a runner. And so I know all those three skills. I didn't know how to start training. And I start asking everybody, and I look like the dumbest of the dumbest. 6 months later, 2 years later, I could train everybody. I could train the Ironman, champions. But at the beginning, we don't know.
So that is the characteristics of somebody who understands that there is always a next level, and you don't have to have all the answers, but you have to look for the people that will bring out the answers from you. Because you decided to come. When I remember the conversation you and I had when you came to the boot camp. I'm like, what do you want? Number one question, what do you want? And my job is not to tell you what I think you want. My job is to take it out of you. Because I know deep inside, every man knows what he wants. But if I tell you that it comes from somebody else, it doesn't come from you.
I get it, but I said, like, I want to be happy. I remember that. I was telling you, I don't know what I want. I don't want that. I don't like that feeling. But I was so uneducated. I don't want to say dumb, but I was so uneducated. I didn't even know how to describe it what I want. Yeah. The only thing I knew what I don't want.
Exactly. So it's, at one point, it's better even to know, okay, I don't know what I want. It's not clear yet.
Yes.
But I know that where I am is in a shitty situation, and I don't want this.
I don't want that.
And that is the catapult to change.
Exactly. That's a threshold. Like, you got to go through the pain. Then it took me a few years, like, well, I want to be happy. And then took me another few years that without suffering, without the anxiety, without all the issues, without all the problems, you can't be happy, because then even if you're happy, you don't appreciate the happiness, because you like a yin yang, you need positive and negative. And it took years to develop. And then I have an aha moment. I'm 50, I'm 51. It's like, holy shit, everything I ever needed, it was within me, but I was looking from everywhere outside. And now I want to share the world. It's like, fuck all of it. It's like, you got everything within you. And it's like, you tell to somebody, work on yourself. What?
It's funny because you said that to my daughter, just yesterday, the day before. And your biggest investment, because she was asking you, how do you reach success? You know, you have all these things. How do you achieve it? And she was asking you for investment advice. What did you tell her?
Well, the best investment you can ever do, and I'm telling anybody who's listening to this, the best investment you can ever do is invest in yourself. And there's no better investment. And if somebody told me that, but when you're not ready to hear it, you're gonna be blah blah bullshit. Yeah, not a freaking rich guy just telling me the story. But this is the best investment. And it's funny, the older we get, we invest more and more resources, time, even time. Like the wealthier you get, the problem is you buying the time with money.
Yeah.
Money buys you time. But then what wealthy people do, they invest the money back in themselves because suddenly they have more time. They don't have to go, if they want to fly from Miami to New York, they don't have to spend 5 hours. They can just jump on the private jet, in 2 hours they're there. But they have 3 hours to meditate, pray, work on themselves, read a book, do something educational, or give somebody else advice. So giving is another thing that is like, it's you helping yourself, but yet you're helping others. And that comes back. It's a karma that comes back. And it's like, a lot of people ask me for advice. I give them advice and I'm like, what? Like I just give them advice and I don't take the same advice to myself. Like Jessica, my queen, always tells me, Jarek, why don't you just give the same advice you give to others to yourself? I'm like, shit. And how many times I catch myself doing it?
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's easier
like
to tell. It's easy to see everybody else's problems and how to fix them than to see ourselves.
Yes.
Fixing it. And a lot of people, what they hear in invest in yourself is like, I know I need to get better, but what does that mean, invest in yourself? And I tell my kids, increase your value. How do you increase your value? You have to know your self-worth. The best thing that I give my kids, and I see with your kids too, is help them see that they are enough. Help them see that they are enough. Like my daughter was sharing with us at dinner, like whatever mistake she makes, I'm never gonna take my love away from her. But she needs to bring value into the market if she wants to make it into this world.
Yes.
Like, so at one point you got to the place where you felt like you were not enough. At one point you got in a place where you were in a dark tunnel. Tell us about like.
Oh, now we're gonna talk about my book.
Yeah, exactly. That's a segue. So tell us
There
about
you
that.
go. We're gonna talk about my book. Since I remember, I always have the not enoughness in me, and I don't want to spoil the book, and I don't want to ruin anything. But the not enoughness, I was constantly chasing. The moral of the whole book is, we chase because we don't feel enough. Okay, and we want to prove to the whole world that truly doesn't give a fuck about you. Okay, that you enough, and you just want to win something, better position in a let's say in an Ironman, or win Ironman, or finish Ironman, or buy 100 million or 200 million real estate, or be a billionaire, or have a $500,000 followers, million, 2 million, 10 million. We always want to prove it to the world that we are enough and that's where we get the validation. And on the end of the day, it's like the validation it's got to come from you. The self-love, the inner work, and everything else. Everything. The world is from inside out, not from outside in. Because I was miserable the second I was getting everything, all the validation, all the certainty from outside to go back in. And it was never fulfilling. When we turn this game around and we go from in out, that's when everything, the abundance comes, and the happiness and everything else, and
Changes
the
the
peace
game.
that
Changes the game. I wish more people understand this. Emotional fitness is the key for you to controlling your destiny.
But we don't talk a lot about emotional fitness, emotional intelligence. If you tell anybody what is IQ, everybody IQ is the intelligence, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But nobody talks about emotional intelligence. Like maybe right now, because I'm in it, that's my bubble, and that's what I started. That's what I was lacking, because I wasn't aware of any of that until my ski accident in 2016. I didn't even know what it means. I didn't even know what it means. And then, when I start searching, then I just find out about emotional intelligence, emotional fitness, and the inner work, the inner game. Like if Raul, if you'd have told me this stuff 5, 10 years ago, like, what is he talking about? The guy is delusional. We would not even hold a conversation.
But you have to be ready.
You have to be ready.
So that's where the emotional fitness comes in.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that most people understand, okay, emotional awareness, emotional intelligence means that I need to be aware of my emotions. Emotional fitness is, can you be okay with whatever is going through right now through your emotions? Can you not let your emotions control you, but use your emotions towards what you want in life? So the difference that I always say, the difference between emotional intelligence and emotional fitness, knowing emotional intelligence and emotional fitness is like, I know how to, I watch boxing versus I'm sparring in the gym. Emotional fitness is you get into the gym and you start fighting. You start using your emotions. You know you get triggered, but then you turn around. It's like what happened, yesterday here in the boat. I fell through a hole in there, was able to turn around within minutes, not to ruin the moment. I was in pain, but emotional fitness allows people to reframe whatever's going on in your world.
But
So
in order to
how does it
reframe, we have to know the words. Like, so what happened is, I was so, like, I want to touch this a little bit because this is important. The only emotions I knew is bad, good, angry, pissed off, happy, unhappy. That's the emotions I know. Okay, like I didn't know any other emotions. Anxiety. What is anxiety? What is depression? What is like the feelings? They like the tingling. There's something like I didn't know any of other emotions. Like I have to learn. I have Jessica. Just what does this mean? What does I have to I was reading the books and I was asking her what does it I didn't even know how to associate the word with the emotion or the feeling within me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have to learn, and it's like I'm suddenly 50 years old man. They're learning about feelings and emotions. Like I cannot even talk to my kids because I don't know. I remember we bought it I think it was like a circle, and I was expressing all this emotions. I'm I didn't know 99% of those words what they mean. That's how clueless I was. And suddenly 50 years old man goes through life with completely lack of awareness. And no shit, I got in the deep depression that I was suicidal. I mean, you know what I mean? It's because I didn't, I was holding everything within.
So now let's talk about that. That's why you're writing the book, right?
Yes.
What's the purpose of it? Because you went through a time in your life when you felt suicidal, you felt like, I'm not worth living even though I have all these things. Tell us a little bit about the book and why you're writing it.
The main reason is I just want to share the story because a lot of, especially through, again, I told you social media, it's a gift and a curse. The social media, that's why the book I wrote, Not Enoughness, the gift and a curse. Because all the young kids are looking about the richness and the wealth and everything around, and they think when I get there, I'm gonna be happy. When I get there, and I can tell you, whatever you get, if you don't fix everything here, you can be the wealthiest person in the world. I mean, the richest person in the world. You're still gonna be miserable as hell. There are people we talk about it today or yesterday. People on all those 200, 300, 400 million yachts. They still miserable. They have a void within. And I was the one. And I was I just want to show you because everybody thought that when you get to this level, you got everything. And when the depression and the complete emptiness hit me, I had everything. You know what I mean? And it still got me because it was undeveloped. Not only, I didn't never water myself from the,
You worry about everything from the exterior.
Exactly.
But you never did the inner work.
Yeah, and it will just get into you. So I just want to share my story. So I just want to make sure that when people go claim the mountains of, let's say, financial independence, they don't forget what is more important, because there's a lot of other hills, a lot of other mountains. There's a lot more important. Yesterday you asked me, Jarek, no, it was Alejandro. He's if you went broke right now, what was the question?
I'll ask you the question. This is a really good question for the podcast listeners to know. If you were to start from zero, you're broke today, what would you do?
No, with the knowledge that you have right
the
now.
only thing you could take is your experience.
Yes.
Your experiences, but you start
And,
from
and
zero.
I'm getting goosebumps because I answered the question 3 times. Like, no, I would say that. I would say that. I say that. And you can never ever, doesn't matter what happened, when you find your inner freedom, the peace, you can never ever go broke. Because what is broke? You see, even like people, when you say broke, people right away assume money. Money's got nothing to do with wealth. Well, and like I told you, like why all the monks and Buddhas are, all the billionaire celebrities going to them, help me, I'm miserable, I'm unhappy, blah, blah, blah. The monks and Buddhas don't go to the billionaires like, help me out, I'm miserable. It doesn't go the other. They know they got everything within them. So this is, you can't go broke when you build this. Like, this is your sanctuary. This is the biggest asset, like for anybody listens, like this is the biggest asset we have. And just put in, just invest from within and from outside, by prayer, by meditating, by reading, by meeting other people, and be open and just keep opening all the fucking doors. And doesn't matter, hey, this door doesn't suit me, this door doesn't suit me, this, oh my God, I love this shit, I'm in heaven. And it's never ending story. And then you will never have to go to sedation. Like I went to the process of sedation. Like you know the story. I was first sedating with work. I worked 20 hours a day. That's sedation. But for society, I was doing everything good. I mean, nobody, oh no, Jarek, you're working too much. You know what I mean? No, he's successful. You know, that's what he does. Or when you start training and start doing Ironman, nobody's like, oh, he's doing good because he's working out. Look at his body. Look at his successes. Oh, he's first. He won this. He won this. No, but suddenly when you touch something bad, like alcohol or drugs, suddenly, oh my God, he's got a problem. But because I was sedating my entire life with good, but by society, which is still sedation, working or working out, or this is not.
It takes you away from acknowledging your pain.
Being present, yes, and being present. Yeah. That's sedation. And suddenly something good, and like, oh, now it's bad. But I already have the awareness, and then you know.
And that's your King's Code.
Yes.
Your King's Code is you are your biggest asset for your community, for your business, for your family. If the king doesn't rise, if you don't build the king, the kingdom is going to fail. Yeah. So, brother, I can't wait to read your book. I hope that I get one of the first copies of the book.
No, you don't.
We'll bring it into the
There's
podcast.
Once you got to get in line. Listen.
We're going to bring it to the podcast.
There you go.
Man, I'm so proud of you. I know I tell you, but I am so proud of you. The journey that you've been in, and I've been amazed every single time
part
I
of
see
it. You did like
but,
that. You were
you
were step by step by, you know. And the book, I gotta tell you, I gotta give you the first copy because you were the one that always was telling me about it.
Listen, we got this on video.
You got that video.
Get the first copy.
Yeah. So you walk me through, and you make me believe. And like I want to tell the audience also, you don't need. You also like you got everything within. But you also need somebody to believe in you. You know what I mean? Like when this happened, you know, you believe in me. When my divorce happened, like Jessica believed in me. She just like one believer, it's enough to get you out of the whatever you're going through. Because it doesn't matter how well you prepare in life, you're gonna go through stage that you're gonna fail. And failures are the best lessons. And you really always need. I mean, you need yourself to believe that's number one. Faith, God, and you got to surrender to God. That's number one. I'm not even gonna go there. But you also need actually a human being, somebody, you know, your parents or you know your colleagues, your partner, or you know somebody they need belief in you, and it's.
That's what you can't do this alone.
Yeah.
You cannot do this alone. You gotta find a tribe. You gotta find people. And I'm honored, brother,
I always
to be part
say,
of the tribe.
When there is something that when you do stuff alone, and I might be wrong on that, I'm not saying that. When you do stuff alone, you get to the goal faster. I might be wrong. I'm not saying it because you know a lot of stuff I say, and 2 years later it's bullshit. It's not true. But right now, how I switch now. Is when you go with somebody or with the tribe, you get farther.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you alone, you get faster, and that's the limit. when you go with the tribe, when you surround yourself with the good people, and I really do think like me being a man, like you need to be surrounded by other guys, because we go through a lot of shit together, and it's like, by helping each other and being a part of it and being able to vent, it helps us out to go farther, but you go a lot farther. You go slower because you're learning from each other, hey, this was working, but you go a lot farther as a tribe, as a group, than like as a brotherhood, than alone. Because my entire life, I told you, I was alone. I never thought that everybody else is going through the same shit that I go through. I thought that I'm different. I'm alone.
And that's when most men lose their edge.
Yes.
Because they're trying to do this shit alone, and they try to figure out life alone.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you, brother. I'm glad that you're in my tribe. I'm glad that I'm in your tribe. And we're going to enjoy more beautiful sceneries in years to come, brother.
There you go.
Because the best is yet to come. Learn it, live it, experience it.
Love life.
If you got value from this episode of the King's Code podcast, click on the link above and watch the documentary we did on Jarek Tadla. And I guarantee you, you'll be able to shift your mindset to be able to find your purpose in life.